Life can be pretty unexpected. One day, I'm folding sweaters in a high-end boutique, dreaming of big things, and the next, I'm face to face with destiny. Or at least that's what it felt like when Liam walked in. But let me back up a bit. I'm Chloe, and fashion's my passion. Not the flashy, break-the-bank kind, but the smart, stylish kind that says, "Yeah, I know I look good." The boutique felt like my playground, my school, and sometimes my whole world. I could pair a vintage belt with a modern dress and make them look like they were meant to be together. My dream: to turn this knack into a career as an image stylist. "Is it Liam?" I asked, spotting the guy browsing through our new collection. He had that artsy vibe, complete with a camera hanging around his neck, like he saw the world in snapshots. "Yeah, I'm here for a shoot," he said. "I need something that screams urban chic, but isn't trying too hard." I laughed. "You're in luck. Urban chic's my middle name." "Well, not really, but you get the point." We chatted as I pulled out pieces, mixing patterns and textures like a DJ mixing tracks. He was easy to talk to and had a pretty sharp eye for fashion, especially for someone who spent his days looking through a lens. "You've got real talent," Liam said, holding up a leather jacket I paired with a soft floral dress. "Ever think of doing this professionally?" "All the time," I admitted, "but dreams and rent don't always align, you know." He nodded. "Tell me about it. I was shooting weddings before I could land anything bigger. But you've got to chase what you love." Our conversation was interrupted by a shrill voice echoing through the store. "Chloe, darling, where are those scarves I asked about?" That was Ms. G, the store owner. She wasn't big on patience. "On it," I called back, giving Liam an apologetic smile. "Duty calls." He handed me his card and said, "Let's talk. Maybe there's something we can collaborate on." "Maybe," I replied, pocketing the card. I didn't hold my breath. People threw around, "Let's collaborate," like spare change, and nothing ever came of it. The rest of the day was a blur of customers, folding clothes, and Miss G's demands. But as I locked up the store, Liam's card burned a hole in my pocket. What if? I thought. Better not get my hopes up. "Hey, Chloe," it was Liam, leaning against the wall outside. "Grab coffee with me. I've got an idea I want to run by you." Coffee turned into dinner, and dinner turned into late-night talks about everything and nothing. Liam's world of photography was as colorful and chaotic as mine in fashion. The more we talked, the more it felt like our paths were meant to cross. Liam's idea of meeting the family came out of nowhere. One minute we were chilling on his couch, flipping through old photo albums, and the next he says, "You should come to dinner with my folks this weekend." "Are you for real?" I dropped the album, staring at him like he'd just sprouted a second head. "Liam, babe, we've been dating, what, a couple of months? Isn't it a bit early for the whole meet the family circus?" He just grinned that cocky smile that always made me roll my eyes and laugh at the same time. "They're going to love you, Chloe, and I want my worlds to collide. You, them, all of it together." I could have said no, could have told him I wasn't ready to jump into that pool just yet. But looking at him, all excited and hopeful, what could I do? I caved. "Fine, but if your sister starts measuring me for a wedding dress, I'm out of there." Liam laughed. "Sophie, nah, she's more likely to sell you a knockoff and keep the change." Great, just the endorsement I needed, I thought as we arrived at Liam's family home. He wasn't kidding about their place. It was like something out of a magazine, all sleek lines and expensive tastes. My thrift shop chic outfit suddenly felt very out of place as we approached the door. Liam's parents were the picture of upper-class warmth. His mom, Grace, enveloped me in a hug that felt surprisingly genuine, while his dad, David, offered a firm handshake and a friendly nod. So far, so good. Then came Sophie. She sauntered in like she owned the place, which in a way, she probably did. "So, you're the girl who's been keeping my brother away from us," she said, eyeing me like I was a puzzle she couldn't quite solve. Dinner was a minefield. Every question Grace asked was laced with curiosity and a hint of judgment, while David was more interested in Liam's work, occasionally throwing a question my way like an afterthought. But Sophie was on a whole other level. "So, Chloe, Liam tells us you're into fashion, planning to make a career out of selling clothes," she asked with a slight smirk. I bristled but kept my cool. "More than selling, actually. I'm looking into becoming an image stylist. There's an art to creating an image, a persona. It's not just about the clothes." "Art, huh?" Sophie smirked again. "Sounds fanciful. And here I thought art was about expression, not dressing up mannequins." I could feel Liam tensing beside me, but I placed a hand on his arm. "Everyone's got their medium, Sophie. Some use canvas, others use a camera," I said, glancing at Liam. "And some of us use fabric and texture. It's all expression in the end." The rest of the evening passed in a blur of forced politeness and subtle digs from Sophie. By the time Liam and I said our goodbyes, I was more than ready to escape into the night. Meeting his family was one thing, but dealing with his sister Sophie was a whole other level of drama I hadn't signed up for. It all kicked off one afternoon at the boutique, right in the middle of a busy spell, when Sophie decided to grace us with her presence. She strutted in like she owned the place, her eyes scanning the store until they landed on me. "Hey Chloe, you're going to hook me up with a discount, right? Family perks and all that," she said, smirking as she held up a dress from the new collection. I was already bracing for trouble. "Sophie, you know I can't do that. This is the latest line, no discounts, not even for family." Her smirk dropped, replaced by a scowl. "What? Come on, don't be such a stick in the mud. I'm practically your sister." I shook my head, trying to keep my voice even. "Rules are rules, Sophie. I can't just change them for you." That set her off. She threw the dress down and stormed out, muttering about how I'd regret this. I sighed, knowing this wasn't going to end there. Sure enough, Liam gave me an earful later. "Chloe, why couldn't you just give her the discount? She's my sister. We're supposed to look out for each other." I was fuming but tried to stay calm. "Liam, I'm not about to lose my job over a discount. She was asking for something I can't do. It's not about not wanting to help. It's about not being able to." He didn't get it, or maybe he didn't want to. Either way, things were tense for a while. Meanwhile, family dinners became a minefield. Sophie never missed a chance to gloat about her new rich boyfriend and their upcoming wedding, laying it on thick about how amazing everything was going to be. Liam ate it up, always encouraging her, while I just sat there forcing a smile, feeling like I was on the outside looking in. "Don't miss this chance, Sophie," Liam would say, and all I could do was nod along, wondering when this charade would end. It was clear Sophie enjoyed making me squirm, reveling in any chance to show me up in front of Liam and his parents. And Liam. He was caught in the middle, always trying to smooth things over but never quite seeing the whole picture. Despite the ups and downs, especially with Sophie stirring the pot at every opportunity, Liam and I found our little slice of happiness. It was one of those lazy Sundays, the kind where the world seems to pause just for you, when Liam decided to flip our world upside down in the best way possible. We were sprawled on the couch, a marathon of some show we weren't really watching playing in the background. I was mid-yawn when Liam muted the TV and turned to me with this look, you know, the kind that says something big is coming, but you're not quite sure if you're ready for it. "Chloe, we need to talk," he said, suddenly serious. I sat up straight, my heart racing. "What's up? Everything okay?" He took a deep breath, running his hands through his hair. "Yeah, no, everything's fine. Better than fine, actually. I've been thinking. Here it comes, I thought. He's had enough." Sophie finally got to him. "I don't want to wait any longer, Chloe. I want us to start planning our future together." I blinked, processing. What do you mean? He got off the couch, knelt down on one knee, and suddenly it clicked. Chloe, will you marry me? My heart stopped, then raced. Are you serious right now? You're asking me now. Yeah, why not? He grinned, that confident, slightly cocky grin that drove me wild. I love you, Chloe. I want to spend my life with you, drama and all. So what do you say? I looked at him kneeling there, so sure of himself, of us, and despite the voice in my head screaming about Sophie and all the complications, I knew my answer. Yes, I whispered. Yes, I'll marry you. Liam's face lit up, and he swept me into his arms, spinning me around. That's my girl. But then reality crept in, as it always does. Liam, you do realize what you're signing up for, right? Your sister, my job, us. It's not going to be easy. He set me down, his hands on my shoulders, looking me straight in the eye. Chloe, I don't care about any of that. We'll figure it out together. Sophie will come around, and if she doesn't, well, that's on her. You and me, we're a team now. His words were like a balm, soothing the worry that had taken root in my chest. A team, huh? I like the sound of that. Yeah, Team Chloe and Liam against the world. We laughed, the tension melting away, replaced by a sense of rightness, of belonging. In that moment, it didn't matter what Sophie thought or what anyone else said. We were in this together, for better or worse. Wedding prep was in full swing, and it was turning into my full-time gig. I was all over it from the get-go, designing the whole shebang. I dreamed up a vibe for the day that was elegant, but with a twist, and ordered this bomb dress with a massive bow that screamed me. The girls were getting outfitted in styles I handpicked, and I had a vision that tied everything together. I dove headfirst into planning the decor, custom-designed invitations, unique guest gifts, and photo zones that would make your Instagram pop. The arch, tables, chairs, everything had to match the vibe. I was buzzing, imagining the looks on everyone's faces when they saw the setup. Grace, my future mother-in-law, was on this journey with me. We hit the shops like a storm on weekends, hunting for those perfect little touches. Over coffee, she'd spill how impressed she was with my dedication. You're really going all out, aren't you? Sophie's not even half as involved with her plans, she'd say, shaking her head. One day, Grace asked if I could give Sophie a hand with her wedding stuff. Honestly, I wasn't keen, but Grace looked so hopeful, so I said, sure, I'll talk to her. Sophie, though, wasn't having any of it. I don't need your help, thanks, she snapped, all high and mighty. I just shrugged it off, thinking, fine by me, less drama. The closer we got to the wedding, the more real it all felt. Every piece of the puzzle was falling into place, and I couldn't wait to see it come to life. Liam was my rock through it all, always there with a word of encouragement or a helping hand. Babe, this is going to be epic. Can't believe you pulled all this together, he'd say, eyes wide as he looked over the plans. Yeah, well, it's got to be perfect, right? For us, I'd respond, feeling that mix of nerves and excitement bubbling up inside. We'd spend nights going over every little detail, making sure nothing was missed. It was exhausting, but in the best kind of way. The thought of walking down an aisle, perfectly designed just as I'd imagined, towards Liam made all the late nights worth it. Sophie's wedding happened 2 months before ours, and we were kindly invited to the ceremony. But what I saw there hit me like a punch to the gut. Walking into that wedding felt like stepping into a twisted version of my own dream. Everything I'd meticulously planned for our wedding was right there, my designs, my ideas, even the flowers on the tables. It felt like I had been robbed, not of jewels, but of my dreams. I nudged Liam, disbelief clear in my voice. Can you believe this? It's our wedding. She's taken everything. Liam looked around, clearly uncomfortable. Babe, it's fine. Let's not make a scene. It's her day. Her day? I couldn't believe what I was hearing. It's supposed to be our day. She's wearing my dress, Liam, and that's my bouquet in her hands. As Sophie made her grand entrance, looking like a carbon copy of my dream wedding, the sting of betrayal cut deep. Guests oohed and snapped pictures of the decor I'd poured my heart into. Their joy was like a knife in my gut. I turned to Liam, desperation in my voice. She stole our wedding. How can you be okay with this? Liam, always the peacemaker, sighed and avoided my gaze. Don't do this now. It's Sophie's wedding. Don't ruin it. Ruin it. The irony was almost unbearable. I was the victim here, yet somehow I was expected to smile and nod while Sophie paraded around in my dream. The urge to flee, to run from this mockery of my plans, was overwhelming. But as I stood there, surrounded by stolen dreams, a fire lit within me. No, I wouldn't run. This wasn't just about centerpieces and dresses. It was about respect, about the sanctity of my ideas. Liam, I said, my voice low but firm, this isn't right. You know it. I need to know how she got her hands on my plans. He looked at me then, worry in his eyes, but before he could respond, Sophie was upon us, beaming in her ill-gotten gown. Isn't it just perfect? She gushed, oblivious or indifferent to the turmoil she'd caused. I forced a smile, my mind racing. It's something, all right. Tell me, Sophie, where'd you get the inspiration? Her laughter was as fake as the facade we were all maintaining. Oh, here and there. A girl has her sources. With those words, she walked away, mingling with the guests. Sources. The word echoed mockingly in my head. My sources, my plans, my wedding. Liam tried to steer the conversation elsewhere, but I was done. Done playing the understanding fiancé, done watching my wedding play out like some cruel joke. I made my way to Grace, who stood next to Sophie, basking in the praises showered upon the stolen decor by oblivious guests. 6 months of planning, Sophie boasted, and Grace nodded along, pride written all over her face. Fueled by a mix of hurt and determination, I confronted Sophie and Grace. Who came up with this? Who's the mastermind behind the wedding design? My voice cut through the murmurs, attracting curious glances. Sophie's confident smirk faltered under my gaze, and the guests fell into an uneasy silence. Grace, caught off guard, turned to me, asking, "Is everything all right, dear?" Before I could respond, Liam was by my side, his hand on my arm, trying to lead me away. "Let's not do this here. It's Sophie's day," he whispered, pleading. I pulled my arm away, my voice rising despite my efforts to stay calm. "Why, Liam? Why did Sophie steal my wedding plans? How did she even get my dress?" Sophie's eyes darted to Liam, her facade crumbling. Liam, with a sigh of resignation, faced me. "Look, our wedding was still a way off. I thought Sophie could use your ideas and the dress. It saved money." I stared at him, struggling to process his words. "You gave her my dress and my ideas, and you think it's okay because it saves a few bucks." The justification hung heavy in the air, tainted with betrayal. Liam, faltering under my gaze, added, "We can always push our wedding back, let people forget about the design. I'd do anything for my sister." Sophie, emboldened by Liam's support, couldn't resist a dig. I just had to have that dress. It was too beautiful to pass up. Now you can say you're following in my footsteps. That was the last straw. My vision blurred with tears of frustration and heartache. I faced Liam, the guests, the entire room. "I can't do this. I won't marry someone who puts his sister's whims over our plans, our future." Liam reached for me, but I stepped back, my decision clear. "No, Liam. This isn't about a dress or decorations. It's about respect and trust, and it's clear I can't trust you to stand by me." Grace, my almost mother-in-law, surprisingly took my side. "Joe's right," she said, her voice cutting through the tension like a knife. "This isn't how we raised our kids, to steal and lie." The folks on Sophie's would-be husband's side looked like they'd swallowed sour grapes. Starting a life on a lie, that's no foundation for a marriage, They muttered, disappointment etched on their faces. Then, the would-be groom, a guy I barely knew beyond polite hellos, took the stage, literally grabbing the mic. "There won't be a wedding today. I can't marry someone who's okay with such deceit." His eyes met mine for a moment, filled with apology, but I couldn't find it in me to feel sorry for Sophie. Her reaction was something out of a bad soap opera. Tears, screams, and then, as if to punctuate her outrage, she threw her bouquet to the ground and started stomping on it. A part of me wanted to laugh at the absurdity of it all, but the sadness in Grace's eyes stopped me. Liam, my now ex-fiancé, seemed more concerned about his sister's theatrics than the mess he'd helped create. "Look what you've done, Cho. You're ruining everything," he accused, his words aimed at me like darts. His parents, however, weren't on the same page. "We're ashamed," they said, their disappointment directed at Liam and Sophie. "Ashamed to have raised children who think this is okay." Walking away from that mess, I felt a mixture of relief and sorrow. Relief that I dodged a lifetime of being second to Sophie's whims, and sorrow for what could have been if Liam had been the partner I thought he was. After the storm comes the calm, they say, and in my case, after a hurricane of emotions and a tornado of drama, I finally found my peace. It wasn't overnight, mind you. It took a good chunk of soul-searching and a whole lot of me time, but I got there. One afternoon, sitting in the quiet of my living room, surrounded by sketches and fabric swatches, I realized I was finally doing what I loved again, designing, creating, dreaming. Only this time, it was for me. My phone rang, breaking the silence. It was Emma, my best friend, her timing impeccable as always. "Chloe, girl, how's the world's next big wedding stylist doing today?" Her voice was a warm hug over the phone. I chuckled, shaking my head even though she couldn't see me. "Getting there, Emma. Actually working on a new project right now. That's my girl. Hey, remember that boutique on 5th? The one we loved. They're looking for a designer to revamp their bridal section. Sounds right up your alley." My heart skipped a beat. "Really? That's huge." Emma laughed. "Yeah, you should totally go for it. Show them what you're made of." And I did. I poured my heart and soul into a portfolio, showcasing not just my skills but my vision, my passion for fashion that told a story, celebrating love in all its forms. Walking into that boutique, portfolio in hand, felt like stepping into a new chapter of my life. The interview was more of a conversation, a shared excitement for what weddings could be, and when they offered me the job on the spot, it was more than an opportunity. It was validation, a sign that I was exactly where I was supposed to be. But amid the new beginnings, there was one loose end that needed tying up: Liam. The whole wedding debacle left me not just heartbroken but financially in the lurch too. So, I decided it was time to square things away for my peace of mind. I met Liam at a quiet coffee shop, a neutral ground for what was sure to be an uncomfortable conversation. "Chloe, he started, but I held up a hand, cutting him off. "Liam, save it. I'm not here to rehash what happened. I'm here about the wedding, the one that didn't happen because of, well, you know why." He nodded, looking down at his coffee. "Yeah, I know. I want compensation, Liam, for the moral damage and the costs of the wedding that didn't happen because of your actions." "It's only fair," I said, my voice steady, stronger than I felt. He sighed, rubbing his forehead. "Chloe, I know I messed up. How much are we talking?" I slid a piece of paper across the table with the numbers written down. "It's not just about the money, Liam. It's about acknowledging the impact of what you did." He looked at the figure, winced, but then nodded. "Okay, I'll make it right, Chloe. I owe you that much. And Liam," I added, meeting his gaze squarely, "this is the last time we do this dance. From here on out, we go our separate ways for good." Walking out of that coffee shop, I felt lighter. It wasn't just about the money, it was about standing up for myself, drawing a line, and demanding respect. It was the final step in a journey that took me from being the victim of my circumstances to the architect of my future.